I was a guard at the U.S. Penitentiary located in Marion, Illinois. This is part of my story. On April the 20th, 1990, Pete Rose pleaded guilty to 2 charges of filing false income tax returns, not showing income he received from selling autographs and memorabilia, and horse racing winnings. On July the 19th, Rose was sentenced to 5 months in a minimum security prison camp at the United States Penitentiary located in Marion, Illinois, and fined $50,000. Pete Rose was a phenomenal player who made buckets of money playing and managing in the 1960s and the 1990s, but he screwed it all up by gambling. He hurt his sport and himself to the nth degree. He's paid a very heavy price for the people and organizations that he hurt. As a side note, we have a park in Marion called Ray Fosse Park. Pete Rose, during a baseball game, knocked him over in 1970 and caused him injuries that plagued Ray Fosse for the rest of his life. It just seems like a strange coincidence that the hometown of a player he injured is the place where Pete Rose would hit bottom and spend 5 months in prison. Pete Rose sticks out in my mind not because he was a big deal baseball player, but because of the amount of disruption that he caused at the prison. Prior to his arrival, we had paparazzi camped out at our front gate for weeks. This is the same front gate that saw large protests for Oscar Lopez and the subject of my harassment by the BOP for taking videos on the same spot. You can hold a protest and stand around with cameras for weeks at a time, but you can't make a YouTube video or they lose their mind at USP Marion. There were so many people with cameras at the front gate that I thought one of them would get run over because they stood in the road at times, and more than once I had to slow down for fear of hitting somebody. The funny thing is that all of us knew that Pete Rose would never come through that gate, and all the activity there was for nothing. We had a back gate on Ogden Road that leads into the prison grounds from the Crab Orchard Wildlife Refuge. It was several days before the paparazzi was aware that Rose was inside the prison after we sneaked him in. Some of us would tease the people at the main gate by stopping in the road, like 100 yards from the gate, and then we would put a coat over some guy in a passenger seat, and then we'd drive real fast and push him down while they took hundreds of photos and videos. I bet the National Enquirer has dozens of photos of me. After he arrived, we had a meeting of all the prison staff. We were threatened with accepting anything from Rose that would be considered bribery. We were cautioned to be on the lookout for people trying to take his photo since there was a rumored $100,000 bounty on the first person to get his picture while he was in prison. We were told we would be sent to prison for taking his photo or allowing anybody else to do it. To keep him out of public view, they made a job for him inside the penitentiary. I don't know what it was, probably sorting screws or counting wires or something, just to keep him busy and hidden. This was all great in theory, but somebody stole Rose's commissary card with his photo on it. The card, according to a fellow guard, ended up in Chicago pawn shop for $600. A religious group with a band had an extra drummer one night with a concealed camera in the drum, and it took Rose's photo while he listened to the music. I personally witnessed a group of administrative people take a group photo with Rose on the front steps of the prison. I would have gone to prison for such a photo, but the people who run the place, they can have their photo with Rose on their mantle, and nobody says anything about it because they're the real power behind the fence. Pete Rose was released on January the 7th, 1991, after having paid $366,041 in back taxes and interest, and he was required to do another 1,000 hours of community service. He sells his autograph now to anybody with the money. Me, I'm retired. And like Pete Rose, I'll never have my name in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, if you like this video, hit the like button down there, okay? Don't be an ass, and subscribe too, please.